All right, today we're diving into a story that's, well, it's pretty intense. It actually comes straight from one of you, a subscriber named Sahil. He shared his firsthand account of a trip with his friends that just went so wrong. You know, it starts out as this fun little getaway, but it spirals into something truly terrifying, something that really messes with your idea of what's real and what's a nightmare.
And this one line from Sahil it perfectly sums up the horror that stuck with him. Think about it, a lullaby. It's supposed to be comforting, right? Something you sing to a child. But for him, it became the soundtrack to his worst nightmare. So how does something so innocent get twisted into something so terrifying? That question is really at the heart of the story we're about to get into.
Okay, just try to picture this. It's 3:30 in the morning. You're in a hotel room, miles from home, and you're woken up by this soft singing. You open your eyes, and you see your friend, Samay. He's just staring into a mirror, but his eyes are completely bloodshot, and he's got these weird marks on his neck, almost like he's being choked, and he has this creepy little smile on his face while he sings a lullaby to his own reflection. This is the absolute peak of the horror in Sahil's story. But believe it or not, this isn't where it began. So to really get how they ended up in that hotel room with that scene, we've got to rewind. We have to go back to the very beginning. I mean, how does a trip that's supposed to be about helping a grieving friend turn into, well, a battle with something dark? You know, this whole thing really started from a good place. The group of friends, that's Sahil, Chirag, Arun, and Samay, they were just worried about their buddy. Samay was usually the life of the party, but after his younger brother died in this awful accident, he just shut down. He became super quiet and withdrawn. So they figured, hey, maybe a trip to the mountains in Manali would help, bring back the old Samay. So after a couple of days that felt, almost normal, the friends decide to drive up to this really famous, beautiful spot called Rotang Pass. But as they were about to find out, sometimes the most beautiful places have a seriously dark side. Yeah, and the first warning sign, it was literally in the name of the place, Rotang. In the local language, it basically means Valley of Death or a pile of corpses. It got that name because way back when, countless people died trying to cross it. So, yeah, they were driving, completely unaware, straight into a place called the Valley of Death. And get this, as they were heading out, the hotel receptionist pulls them aside. He gives them this friendly but really serious warning. He tells them, hey, make sure you're back before 6 p.m. He explains that the locals have this belief about a deceptive shadow that haunts the pass. He even told them these old stories about travelers being found dead up there the next morning. Officially, they were accidents, but the locals, they blame this entity. And the friends, well, they just laughed it off. Just another spooky local story, right? Of course, they totally lost track of time up at the pass. And by the time they finally started heading back, it was pitch black. And then this super thick, disorienting fog just rolled in, completely swallowing the road. This is where it all starts to fall apart. Okay, this timeline really shows you how the dread just keeps building. Which of these times? 9:15 p.m., they see this milestone for the first time. Then, 20 minutes later, 9:35, they see it again. Fast forward to 11 p.m., and there it is for a third time. They've been driving for nearly 2 hours and haven't gotten anywhere. They're stuck. They're in a loop. And then, around 11:30, something impossible happens, just before they finally break free around 2 in the morning. So Arun's driving, right? He's being super careful because this fog is just insane. You can barely see a thing. And then, out of the mist, this stone marker appears, Manali 28 km. But the really weird part? There's a man sitting on it, and he's wearing just this thin piece of cloth, a dhoti, in the freezing cold. Sahil sees him, but he doesn't say anything, just tries to make sense of it in his head. And this is where their reality just completely fractures. 20 minutes later, they pass the exact same stone marker. And this time, Chirag speaks up, all confused, and asks, hey, did you guys see that little girl with a toy? Sahil's like, what? No, it was a man. But then Arun, who's gripping the steering wheel, says, you're both wrong. It was a black horse just watching us. And Samay? He didn't see anything. He just kept quietly repeating, someone needs our help. So after they pass that milestone for the third time, they're completely freaked out. The tension in the car is just thick. And suddenly Arun's voice cuts through it with this chilling warning. He says, don't look outside. But it's too late. They all look. And they see him, a boy, maybe 15 years old, wearing these muddy, ripped clothes. And he's not just running, he's keeping pace with their car, which is doing 40 kilometers an hour, and he's not even breaking a sweat. And this is the moment that whatever was outside gets in. As they're all staring in complete horror at this boy, Samay, the very friend they came on this trip to help, does something they never could have imagined. He rolls down his window, looks right at the boy, and as Arun just floors it to get away, Samay smiles and waves at him. Yeah, something had just been invited in. Which brings us right back to where we started. That hotel room at 3:30 in the morning. After they somehow got back, totally shaken but just relieved to be there, they all tried to get some sleep. But Sahil was woken up by that lullaby, Chanda Hai Tu, which means you are the moon. It was a song Samay's mom used to sing to him and his little brother. Only now, the voice singing it wasn't quite Samay's. And he was singing it to that horrifying face in the mirror. Sahala, Chirag, and Arun are just frozen in fear. They slowly start backing out of the room. And right as they get to the door, the singing stops. Samay turns away from the mirror, looks at them, and in this soft, almost childlike voice, he asks them that one bone-chilling question, and then he just collapses, out cold on the floor. The next morning, they're freaking out, and they remember what the receptionist had warned them about. So they take Samay to a local pundit, a priest. And the pundit, he takes one look at Samay and he knows. He says a malevolent spirit got to him, that it pretended to be Samay's dead brother to get him to let his guard down. He starts performing all these rituals, and after this final ceremony, Samay just violently throws up this thick black liquid. And just like that, the spirit was gone. And it worked. The exorcism actually worked, and Samay was free. But for his friends, and especially for Sahil, who's telling us this story, the whole thing left a permanent scar. I mean, the immediate danger might have been gone, but that kind of terror, it stays with you. And Samay, he's totally fine now. The crazy thing is, he has zero memory of any of it. The drive back from Rotang Pass, the hotel room, all of it. It's just a total blank for him. But for Sahil, the guy telling this story, that memory is burned into his brain. He says he still gets nightmares, and he can never, ever hear that simple kid's lullaby without feeling this wave of pure terror wash over him. So we're left with that question, the one the entity asked using Samay's voice. It's a question that really gets at our most basic instinct, right? The urge to help someone who's in trouble. But after hearing all this, you have to ask yourself, if you heard that knock on your window in the middle of the night, would you open it?